I mean, I'm looking out the window here, and it's very, very gloomy, but Tampa really missed any big hit, which we were talking about last week.
You know, I think to his point, not the politicians that's key. People actually taking a more assertive step to move. Because remember, before it says, oh, I've survived this beforehand. Since Katrina, they said no sense in playing around with it.
But here, of course, at the RNC, you know, there is an element of PR that is part of the equation. You can't, I mean, this is a celebration. This is a launch. I mean, how devastating in terms of messaging is this storm for you?
Well, I think the important thing to remind people is this is actually about nominating, having Mitt Romney as the official nominee so we can get on with spending our money and campaigning. This is a business meeting, first and foremost, and we'll get done with that and get on with the campaign.
So the business is fine, but the messaging?
Yeah, but the reality is that the convention really, you know, since the after 68 or 72, has been about selling a message to the country. And look, inexorably, we're now in a split-screen mode. I mean, you said that our top story is, understandably, justifiably, is a hurricane perhaps hitting the Gulf. So this convention, already has been affected enormously by the storm and will be the rest of the week. We'll have some difficult choices to make on schedule, but regardless of that, the country's attention is divided in a way that it isn't usually. We'd be sitting here normally now with childhood friends of Mitt Romney talking about his upbringing,
so it's
not
lots of opportunity to own the messaging.
Potentially, if you think about these general elections, three big moments: picking the VP, convention, and the debates. Those are the three moments when the most Americans tune in. And to the extent that, as Ron says, we now have a split screen and people are going to be focused on something else, that's not good news for Romney.
And attention focus too, right? I mean, you must be. Are people sitting in a room navigating? Okay, what's the storm doing over here? So our messaging is appropriate and not and doesn't come across as unsympathetic or uncaring, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, Floridians are getting to see Republican leadership. Governor Scott stepped out on Sunday before anyone else and said, "I'm canceling my first 2 days of events." That's leadership in a swing state.
Test for the president, too, if it hits New Orleans 7 years after President Bush failed that test.
A test where we've seen a track record before, so there'll be much to compare and contrast to.